here and now today.
And truly, folks, this is the moment. Thank you for being here and being amazing. I appreciate all of you. You get a ring of the victory bell for being here and being amazing. And you know who else is amazing? My next guest. His name is Eugene Mandelcorn. He runs an international filmmakers organization for 20 years. And he's a sales and marketing company that sold films around the world for 11. Now, he's part of an international studio without borders or walls that specializes in a whole new realm of entertainment that offers possible solutions to the problems that we face in the world today. So he can weave your company, product, or service into the fabric of a feature film or a video game. Now, he's got the most amazing voice. I love hearing it. So let's welcome the one and only, super handsome, super talented, the one who walked to school uphill both ways in the snow, barefoot, Eugene Mandelcorn. Hey, Eugene, how you doing, buddy?
Fine. How are you? Hi, everyone.
I'm fantastic. And everybody else who's watching on the live, you thrive. And if you're watching on the replay, you get to play again. If you're fantastic, make sure you click the link down below. So that way you can comment on the live or just comment down below after the live. And we'd love to hear from you. All right. So without any further delay, let's just dive right in. Let me tell you a little bit about Eugene. We met a couple years ago at a speaker networking group. And I just found out that this was a cool cat. We had to go talk. And he's been in the film industry for such a long time. I've been in 2 movies. So we always say that, like, we're going to make a movie together one day and we're going to present it at the Cannes Film Festival or Sundance Film Festival or something. Like, we'll find some way to work together, right? So Eugene, tell me a little bit more about how'd you get into movie making and how'd you turn out to be so cool?
Well, I got into movie making a couple reasons, but first of all, my father was a silent film actor.
No.
He was born in the 1800s.
No way. Wow.
Yes. And he wanted me, he was also, after he didn't make it into the talkies, and then he became a professional baseball player, and he wanted me to either be one of the two.
Wow.
Either to be in the entertainment industry or in baseball. And I ended up being in the entertainment industry.
Oh my God, that's so fascinating. And he was born in the 1800s. Wow. Like, I can't even think that far behind. That's awesome. I gotta say, like, my dad just turned 80 last month. So now our sense of like mortality starts to like rear its head. So we talk about things like that all the time, like, you know, what happens and what ifs. And, you know, we keep forgetting that, like, you know, the Titanic went down in the early 1900s. And I think the last survivor is still like 103 or something like that. So you know, it's amazing the genre of film, because I was in Singing in the Rain that really juxtaposed that theme of going from the silent films into the talkies and how that changed the entire film industry. Is very cool. So tell me, like, what about your first films? Like, what kind of stuff did you get into? Like, how did you get started?
Well, I invited 6 people into my living room in Hollywood. I was in the place where I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing anything with film. So I invited some people into my living room. There were 6 of us.
Yeah.
And we were all wannabes. None of us had even made a short before. You know, we were novices. So I had everybody write down on a piece of paper what credit they wanted on their first feature film.
Right.
And then after we had that, we brainstormed and decided, what is this film going to be about? Mm-hmm. And amazingly, 18 months later, we screened that feature film during the Cannes Film Festival in France. And we were surrounded by other young filmmakers who wanted to work with us. So that's how I began.
That's fantastic. I mean, like, I could only imagine, like, walking along the sidewalks right next to like the river Seine and taking in that beauty of being in Paris and France but wow, to get a project off the ground and get it out and published, especially the first time out, that's an incredible feat. Most people don't understand how hard that is. That's like someone who has never ran before and running a marathon with a week's notice. It's really it's difficult to get a movie produced and out and published. It truly is. And I know because we did the same thing, and we got ours to DVD, got a fully produced movie and like a documentary about martial artists, real martial arts masters. And we got it out to DVD, and it was a tremendous feat. It took us 4 years, and we did it, where 95% of people failed at it. So tell me about what were some challenges along the way?
Well, I mean, the biggest challenge was putting together a feature film when you've never done one before,
Yeah.
even
What did
not
you have to
even
learn?
a short before, you
Yeah.
know. So, yeah, I mean, after that, we met so many people that worked on that film that we had a following. And when we went to Cannes and screened it, we had over 600 filmmakers that joined with us, and we became our own organization, Film Artists Network, that had filmmakers from around the world. So that was our obstacle, was first putting the film together and then putting an international organization together of young filmmakers from around the world. Well, some young and some older ones also.
Young hey, we're all young at heart, and that's all that matters. So what about, who were now what you do now is you help businesses or people or brands get their products and placement. So you help them get placed into movies and do product marketing and stuff. So how did you get into that?
Well, because I watched a movie called, one of the movies I watched was called Castaway with Tom Hanks. A lot of people have seen that movie. And I noticed that they wove a company called FedEx throughout the film. The main character, Tom, worked for the company. And even when he was deserted on an island in the middle of nowhere, all those packages washing up on shore were FedEx packages.
Yeah.
And when he opened each package, it was a solution to a problem that he faced on that island, a survival problem to survive.
Yep.
And I thought, wow, and one of them was Wilson Sporting Goods volleyball, and everybody remembers that because it became a character actually in several scenes of the film. So people remember that more than FedEx even. But they did that with a lot of companies, and I thought, that's more than product placement. That's actually writing the product, company, or service into the film. So we decided we wanted to make a new genre of film, the solution film, that actually solved the problems of the world. So we would search out for people who had solutions to different problems, and we would weave their solution into a feature film. Yeah.
I know. And that's amazing. And that's something we'll definitely have to talk about, because now when I talk about invisible disabilities and how people like me with speech disfluencies have been marginalized at companies, and it's still going on with no repercussions. My mission is to add invisible disabilities protections into the ADA and make sure that people have those protections. They know that they're not alone, and they can actually, that the people that take advantage of them can be punished for that, because otherwise, what happened to me is going to happen to somebody else. And
I know, Raj, I don't know if you've seen Lead the Way yet. That's the film behind me. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
No, not yet. I've been meaning to, and I definitely want to.
But it's the story of Patrick Lee, who is legally blind and autistic, the perfect candidate for president of the United States. So you see, it's also very timely. I don't know if if the audience can see the image behind me with the young man, Asian man, who's legally blind and autistic. He's wearing these goggles, and most people think that those goggles are virtual reality goggles, and that he's in someone's world. He doesn't even know where he's at. But actually, that's a new invention called New Eyes, that it will allow the legally blind to see, sometimes for the first time in their life. They see their spouse or their children, and it can be a very emotional moment. So that's one of the solutions that we have woven into the fabric of the film.
Oh, that's powerful.
And
So
that's just the tip of the iceberg. Go ahead, Roger. Yeah.
So how can someone who wants to watch Lead the Way find it?
Well, they would have to go to the website on the internet. And at that website, it will actually take you to 10 different platforms where it's streaming around the world, because that film is now streaming around the world. Yeah.
Got it. And there's that link down below that Eugene is sharing with all of us. First Features website that Lead the Way. And
yes, I want to make sure they all have the website.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. So so now you all have that. Make sure you click on that and watch that film and tell us what you think of it afterwards. I mean, I'd love to have a watch party. We can all watch it on YouTube one day, and we'll just do a watch party of it and just go from there and say, hey, what are your comments? What's your real line feedback? I would love to see. You see sometimes the like YouTube influencers, so first impressions, first time they hear the Pentatonics sing Sound of Silence, or the first time they hear Phil Collins sing In the Air Tonight, or something cool like that. I don't know. First time watching Star Wars, or something like that. But what if there's a first time of watching Lead the Way? That would be an amazing film that we could capture. So imagine, see if we can have let's do a grassroots movement. Let's have people take a selfie of yourself watching Lead the Way for the first time and send it to us, and let's see what we can get and put together from that, because it'll be incredible to show people's real reactions first time.
Yeah. Thank you, Raja. That's a great idea, Raja.
Yeah. Well, I come up with great ideas on occasion. And so glad to share with the world. Please click that link down below so that we can do that. And let's have not only Eugene, but everybody else out there that needs that their invisible disability be seen. So Eugene, who is your product or service for? So you want to help? Is it for companies? Is it for people? Who's your target audience?
Well, our target audience is anyone who has a solution to a problem or is looking for a solution to a problem. I think in the world of today, there's so many problems. We will never run out of story ideas, because there's just so many problems that have to be solved. And right now we're working on a new film that we'll be shooting in the beginning of 2025 that shows a possible solution to the homeless crisis. So we treat every kind of problem you can imagine, but we have to find a really possible solution that makes sense before we actually put it into the movie. Yeah.
Got it. I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. So you got to ring the victory bell, because that's an amazing solve to a problem that we have in the world. Is like, how do we connect the solutions with the problems?
Yes.
Right. And vice versa. Like, because why can't we get clean drinking water all around the world when the world is 70% water? Why is it that in the United States, the fastest growing condition is diabetes type 2, which is not a disease. It's a condition of overeating and lack of exercise. Basically, that's it. It's a lifestyle condition. Whereas other countries are starving. When you think about when you think about Madagascar, and it's one of the poorest countries in the world, and it's usually in the top 3 of the lowest GDP in the world. Why is that we have the U.S. where people are getting, for lack of a better term, people are getting fatter, and why do we have people there that have barely any food to survive? And they're making pennies on the dollar versus here. Why can't we distribute some of that? So there's ways that we can solve some of these problems by you sharing the movie. Now, by the way, my problem growing up was I was bullied a lot, and I wanted to find a way to change my life. You know what inspired me to change? A movie. I watched Karate Kid, and that inspired me to think, yes, karate is my life-changing event. I know what to do now. And I was right. It did. It changed my life. Here I am 40 years later, and now I'm a grandmaster in martial arts. And it just makes you realize you are more powerful than you ever thought. Truly. So what about, do you have another success story that you'd love to share with us using your process?
Well, I'll tell you what, a big success we had. I told you about the fact that we had a organization, Film Artists Network, over 600 filmmakers, and we were trying to sell our films. The problem is that it's hard to sell films. You need a good marketing plan. You need a good sales agent, all of this stuff that you need, because you make a film, if nobody sees it, what is the film for? You know what I mean? If nobody sees it. So what we did is we were all having problems. We had nightmares, horror stories. We had horror stories about distribution of our film. So we got together and we had another brainstorming session. This time we had it in Cannes on the French Riviera. We had a brainstorming session, and we came up with the idea of starting our own sales and marketing company. What we did was we put together FAD, Film Artist Distribution. FAD, what's in is in, and we distributed our own films around the world. And instead of a company taking all that money that was made on our films, we gave 100% to our filmmakers.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. So that's like one of our.
I like that. So you changed the world. Just one film at a time.
We keep on changing the world. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So you know what? You and I are aligned in so many different ways, and I got to say, like, I'm so glad we met, because one of the things I tell about my students, about my clients, my students, and my speaking, and now when I speak to corporate events and clients and do keynotes, is that I want to be the 99%, meaning that I don't need to show off with like Lamborghinis and show that I'm flying in a jet, and a lot of those are leased. And I think there's in LA, there's a studio where a lot of these fake influencers go. They hire the inside of a jet. It's in a studio, and that place is booked out like 3 months out, like 24/7, because people are taking pictures of them inside a jet with a bottle of Cristal and looking out the windows, pretending to be influencers. I don't want to be that. I want to be a real influencer, meaning I want to make so much money that I can donate 99% to solving world problems. And maybe that's something that we can connect with. Why is there not clean drinking water? Why can't every child be educated and have a safe place to grow up? Why can't we end child sex trafficking and slavery? Why can't we, educate people so that there is less hate and a little bit more acceptance, not tolerance, but more acceptance in the world? Because I think that truly, if we take a child from the age of 5 up to at least 15, educate them at least for 10 years, their next generation will be okay. They'll be able to find a job and support a family. That means they're following family members for generations to come will be uplifted. And that's my long-term vision, is to create that 1 billion mind shifts so that we can uplift the people and the generations that follow them. So Eugene, we're going to shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about what I call the softer side of Sears. And this is like the speed dating round. Tell us a little bit about you and all personal questions, like just quick and fast. And then we're going to shift over to our sponsor segment. So tell me a little bit about, where did you grow up? How did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Southern California, and I won't tell you a whole story of my life, but by the time I was in my 20s, I was living in a tent in the center of the city. but I didn't
Oh.
consider myself homeless because I was working in a restaurant, and I was a dishwasher in a restaurant, but I didn't have enough money to have a place to live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I thought to myself, I'm down and out, but my only way to go now is up. I have everything is up from there. So I eventually got a vehicle, a used red and white Volkswagen van, and I moved my bed into the Volkswagen van and folded up my tent, and then I had a mobile home. And finally I went. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want to ask another question? I could tell a long story about.
Oh my God. Yeah. No. Yeah. Let's keep going. So what about growing up? Did you have a movie or a book that helped shape the way you think?
The first movie that I really, really loved, and I watched it something like 14 or 15 times, was called Children of Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an amazing film that took over 2 years to make. It was made during the German occupation of France. From 1943 to 1945. And the Germans had to look at every single frame of the film to approve of it before it was released. And it's an amazing venture that I can't believe that it actually got made. But
it. That's awesome.
Children of Paradise. Yeah.
Children of Paradise. I'm definitely sharing that here.
French film. Yes.
Children of Paradise. And don't mind my spelling or my capitalization here, but definitely grab that.
I can tell you my favorite American film.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Is Resurrection. There's a lot of Resurrection films, but the one made in 1980.
Yeah?
1980. Oh, such an amazing film. It's probably one of the very few films that I cried at the end. Tears came to my eyes. And I've seen that many times.
Check that one out now. The 1980 film Resurrection. All right. Now, what about, what's your favorite kind of music?
I love all kinds of music. I really don't have a favorite. One of my favorite songs, though, is Imagine.
Oh, I love Imagine.
Yes.
Yep.
John Lennon.
John Lennon. Yeah, I know. I can play that on the piano, sing it along. Oh, it's beautiful. What about what's a fun fact about you that maybe people don't know?
People don't know that I'm also into real estate, and I am now trying to combine my real estate interest and my motion picture interest. So the entertainment and real estate. So they work together hand in hand.
I got an idea about that too. We'll have to be talking more because I have some ideas about that. What about what is if someone said, you know what is your favorite food in the world? What would you say?
Well, I have a lot. I love chocolate. I'm chocoholic, but I found out I have GERD. And that one of the items that I can't have is chocolate. So there's a lot of different things that I'm restricted from eating that I love. Sometimes I cheat a little. Yeah, I have to be careful. I have to be very careful. Yeah.
So what can you eat then? If you can't have chocolate?
Well, I'm a strict vegetarian. I don't believe in killing animals for food.
Yep.
So already my diet was restricted, but I can eat very, very little. But my wife is Indonesian, and one Indonesian product that I love is tempeh. So I eat a lot of tempeh. It's made from soybeans, and it's very tasty, and it has a lot of protein and stuff in it.
Nice. There you go. All right. So hang on one second. Hello, Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. Yeah, we need as much a vegetarian options as you can in the green room. Thanks. So. That was totally my real call to Whole Foods and like I know the chef over there at Trader Joe's, the one who taste tests everything and sends it out. Gordon Ramsay is an old friend of mine, so I always tell him forget those 5-star dishes. What's the everyday dish that everybody can eat?
Tempeh is spelled TAMPEH. TEM
Oh, I see.
P-E-H. Yeah, it's
Got it. All
Indonesian.
right.
It's Indonesian.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, Eugene, we're going to send you to the green room. One last question before we shift to our next segment. What's one thing that you want people to recall about you?
I want them to know that I want to help solve problems of the world. And if anybody has a problem they want solved,
Yep.
or they have a solution to a problem that they would like woven into a feature film, please contact me. And if they go to that website and they go to contact, it will go directly to my email. So they can directly contact me from the website.
Beautiful. There's that link down below. And while Gene is in the green room enjoying all that amazing tempeh and everything else that he can eat, we're going to ask you guys to also help support our sponsors. Coming up soon is Potapalooza. There's that link down below. It is an opportunity to get on many, many podcast stages if you're a VIP. So it's definitely worth the upgrade. I would say also, I've been now coaching now for over 5 years, and I have a tremendous success rate with people gaining clarity on how to face their fears and creating a strategy to kind of bridge that gap to their goals. So definitely click a link on that. And one tool that I use a lot now in the speaking world is called Talkadot. So there's my link down below. Did you know after my last keynote, I got 105 testimonials in 1 hour right after the keynote. So definitely take that and use that. Now, not only that, we also do branding for you. So if Eugene makes films, guess what? I make some short films too, and I call them speaker reels. So if you want a little bit of sizzle to show people what you can do, here's what we can do for you.
When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end.
All right. So in today's 60-second mind shift, I want to ask you something. When have you changed the world? Now, Eugene is going through and taking world problems and putting them into feature films. What an amazing way to transcend the mediocrity of just product placement, but rather instead take those problems and helping them find a solution in a very creative way. Is there anything that you've been doing that helps you do that? If you did, give us some thumbs up, give us some hearts, and type down in the comments what it is that you've been doing so we can see and we can help find other ways for other people to transform the world. Now, you all know my long-term mission. I want to add invisible disabilities to the ADA, and I want to be the 99%. That means not the 99% rich. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking, what's the 99%? How I can help solve the world's problems. Clean drinking water, make sure we have enough food for everybody, educate those, get them off the street so they get away from gangs and trafficking, and and ending racial violence and hate all around the world. Because I think that if we educate, all of a sudden life can change. So that's a little bit about what I think that we can do. Let's see what Eugene also thinks about that. So for me, it's all about let's solve the world's problems, and we can start to educate and start to create a new culture all around the world. So Eugene, welcome back, my friend. And how is the food?
Great.
Good. So what did you think about that 60-second mind shift? What would you add to it?
Well, I would just add to it, one of the best ways of getting those answers around the world and getting those solutions is to use films. And the two of the problems that we're offering possible solutions to with our next 2 films are the homeless crisis and also the immigration problem.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes. Wow. Big ones. I mean, there's going to be a lot of smaller solutions.
2 rings for that.
In there.
Those are 2 big problems we definitely need to solve.
Yeah.
All right, Eugene, well, we're near the end of our time here. I want to ask you one last question here. If somebody gave you a blank check and said you have unlimited resources, what is your grand vision to change the world?
Would be to make more solution films, and all of the young filmmakers that are out there, the new filmmakers who are trying to scare up the same audience with a horror film, They can make a solution film that actually makes the world a better place.
Oh, I love it. All right, folks, thanks so much for being here. This is Eugene Mandelcorn. Make sure you watch that film, Lead the Way. Read those books that he mentioned. Watch those films he mentioned. Paradise. What was it called? Paradise in... I just blanked on it.
Children of Paradise.
Yeah, Children of Paradise. Right? And
another film is Resurrection.
An easy restaurant and try some tempeh. All right, folks. Thanks so much for being here. This is Coach Raja. And as always, don't fake it till you make it. Instead, believe it and become it. And we'll see everybody on the next show. Bye-bye. Okay, Eugene, we're got 30 seconds now? Here. Quick testimonial for you. Okay. We're almost done here. So 3 questions for you. Why do you want to come on the show? What's your biggest takeaway from any part of the show, the training or whatever? And then how much would you recommend me to somebody else's stage?
Okay, I would say, first of all, I've been trying to get on this show for a long time because I know when you first started it, okay? And I noticed how many you were doing, and boy, have you really made it very sophisticated. It looks beautiful. I love your opening, your intro, your outro. I used to do a show many, many years ago, and boy, you've really got it down. You've got it down. You've done a great job.
And what was your biggest takeaway from the training today or any part of the show?
Well, just that I think that we think very much alike, more than I even thought. Yeah. And the fact that we are adding a lot of documentarians to our studio now, that you should really be part of our studio. We have one of the top documentarians in the world that has just applied to become a member of our studio, and I'm sure he's going to be accepted. So
definitely, yes. Let's talk then, because like I'm game. I'm out for making a positive shift in the world. And last question, how much would you recommend me to somebody else's stage?
I couldn't hear. What did you say? My hearing
is how much would you recommend me to somebody else's stage?
Oh, I recommend you A+. A+.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Eugene. All right. Podcast crew knows what to do from here, and we are gone. All right.